Hey there, everyone. Today we're discussing the week 3 review for the AFC South. And my God, what a mess. Unless you're an Indianapolis Colts fan, then you would be celebrating. But even if you're a Tennessee Titans fan, even with a 3-0 record, for the first time since 2008, my God, it was still a mess. But let's talk about the team that really blew it, the Jacksonville Jaguars, first. We're starting with that game because it was a Thursday night football game, so let's get on with it. The Jaguars really blew it. I mean, seriously. Losing to the Miami Dolphins 31-13. The Dolphins may have woken up, or the Jaguars are still suffering the defeat the Titans gave them, and used up all their energy on them. Well, they'll have a Sunday game next week, so let's be thankful. Still, a Thursday night game was not a good week for the Jaguars. 31-13. My God. The Dolphins were on fire. Ryan Fitzpatrick only missed 2 plays. Only got 2 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing yard touchdown. And of course, we finally got some love from Jordan Howard. But, oh my God, Gardner Minshew? He finally got his sophomore blues. He missed 12 picks and got 1 interception and no touchdowns. I am serious. The Jaguars are really slacking, and they need to step it up. I mean, I just hope they don't, but still, that was a terrible, terrible game right there. Terrible. The Dolphins' defense was on fire. The offense was on fire, knocking down that Jacksonville defense like they were bowling pins. What a mess. What a mess. Now let's move on to the second game. The next game I'm discussing is the Texans and the Steelers. And boy, it was nearly a repeat of last year's AFC divisional match between the Texans and Chiefs. Texans had control, but lost it. The Steelers are serious people. I mean, the Texans didn't even had control for a sec, and then the Steelers came roaring back. I mean, Deshaun Watson did okay, scoring 2 touchdowns, but only 1 interception. And I mean the rest of the offense, David Johnson, Randall Cobb. Randall Cobb got his first touchdown for a while, and now... But the defense was terrible. The Steelers were in control of that defense. I mean, they didn't even hit Ben Roethlisberger. Barely hit Ben Roethlisberger. or even slow James Conner down for even a minute. And even Eric Ebron got some start time. The score was 28-21. Pittsburgh Steelers won. They remain undefeated, and the Texans are still winless. Now let's move on to my team, the Tennessee Titans, who had a crazy game against the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, seriously. It is insanity. The Vikings were in control from the very beginning from the start. Sure, we may have scored 6-0 at the beginning, but the Vikings were out of control. The defense was terrible on that. Titans need to step up their defense. I think Vrabel should get a real defensive coordinator underneath that. And not only that, it's not just the defense. Sure, Darrington Evans got his debut, and so did Vic Beasley, but during the game, Taylor Lewan got hurt. And it was terrible. Us Titans fans are freaking out right now. If it wasn't for a certain kicker, people are joking about Stephen Gostkowski, we would have lost. But in the end, he got six shots right there. 3 of the field goals were over 50 yards. That's right, over 50. We were lucky. The only players that got interceptions were Amari Hooper. Well, Amari Hooker. God, I can't get that name right. And of course, Jonathan Joseph. Those two ought to be proud of themselves. But Kirk Cousins was still the better quarterback than Ryan Tannehill. And I'm glad Derrick Henry finally got some showtime. It is about time the king rose back up to his throne. But Dalvin Cook, I'm just glad the Vikings didn't have the decency to run him all the way through, or otherwise Titans would have lost that game. We got lucky on that one. And our player of the week was Stephen Gostkowski. I wouldn't be surprised if he makes AFC Special Team of the Week. Anyways, the score was 31-30. My God! Titans need to step it up. Sure, we're 3-0, but come on! We're heading to October against some of the toughest teams. Sure, we have the home field all month, but come on! Now let's move on to the Colts and the New York Jets and the Indianapolis Colts. Indianapolis Colts. I knew they were going to win that game. But man, they totally destroyed the Jets. 36-7. That's when I just wonder, why did the Colts defense woke up and the Titans didn't? Because they were able to intercept Sam Darnold 3 times, and they were able to stop him everywhere that offensive line everywhere you go. My God. This is a bunch of bullcrap. But most of the work had to come from the defense. Phillip Rivers is still a bit. He only got 1 touchdown and no interceptions. And we even saw Jacoby Brissett play for a while. Because they had a commanding lead, they didn't need to waste Phillip Rivers' energy. Yep, it was a 36-7 lead. I'm just glad it wasn't 0. Anyways, that's the AFC South standing. Titans are in the lead 3-0. Indianapolis Colts remain in second with 2-1. Jacksonville Jaguars are in third, 1-2. And dead last is the Houston Texans with 0-3. Now we can move on to the Week 4 previews. We may as well start with the Jaguars since we started them first. Since they went first. They're all Sunday games. They're all Sunday games. But we might as well start with the Jaguars first. They are going to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals to redeem themselves. And those Bengals, they're coming off a tied game with the Eagles. A tied game. I just hope they're ready. I just hope those Bengals are ready to slaughter the Jaguars. Or will the Jaguars come back and be ready for them? They're both coming off. Jaguars are coming off a loss. Bengals are coming off from a tie. Guess we'll see which one will finally get their first. Guess we'll see which one has recovered the most. Now let's move on to the Texans and the Vikings. Both teams are 0-3 thanks to Steelers and Titans, which we'll get to in a moment. And my guy, it is going to be a terrible game. Someone's going to have to finally take a victory, and I hope it's the Minnesota Vikings. They disappointed me against the Indianapolis Colts, and we did have to beat them yesterday. But I hope that this time they can get the win against the Houston Texans. I do not want Houston getting the first victory. But if the Texans come out strong, I don't even care because we're still in control of the AFC South at the moment. No matter. Now let's move on to the Colts and Colts. They host the Chicago Bears this week. Next week. Yeah, that's right, next week. The Chicago Bears. And they have announced that Nick Foles is their starting quarterback from here on out. After Mitchell Trubisky played a terrible game. They came off a win against the Falcons, and that, which is why they're coming off a win against the Falcons. The Colts are heading to Chicago. Sorry if I got the away and home teams name wrong. Now Chicago Bears will be hosting the Colts, and they'll be having Nick Foles as their starting quarterback. This will be Nick Foles' first time starting in a while. And my God, I hope it comes out strong. I do not want to see Indianapolis win this week. Anyways, either the Chicago Bears get their acts together, or they finally lose one. Because it's going to take a lot of guts to take on Indianapolis. But the Colts are coming in hot off a victory against the Jets. But they're going to Chicago, which is a different story. My God. Anyways, now let's move on to the final game. The Steelers and the Titans. This one is one of the 3 games Titans will have in one of the 3 games in Nashville playing in October, and guess what? 2 out of 3 of them had to be undefeated. But let's start with Pittsburgh Steelers. Both teams are coming off 3-0 series, but the Titans are in a mess. At a total mess. While the Steelers, they have their star players ready to go, and they are ready to be on fire. For the Titans to win, they need miracle. They need a miracle. I just hope that we can get that miracle, that we Titans fans can get that miracle. Anyways, that's it. See you next time.